Football, football, football. It's back in your life. That's right. You go from now until February with just having football on pretty much Thursday through Mondays. It's the most wonderful time for sports. It really is. As much as I love baseball, there's just something about football. Maybe because it's once a week. I think that's the biggest thing to me. It's only once a week. That's all you really have to commit to it. But it's just nonstop fun watching from like 1 o'clock all the way till at night. Now, I know I said I don't watch as much football as Nora thinks that I do because I really don't watch that much. But my goal is this year to watch even more football because Nora thinks I watch so much. I'm just kidding. I'm still just going to watch the primetime games, especially for college football, because I think college football is so top-heavy where you might get a couple of good games sprinkled throughout the day, but really the night portion is going to be where it's at. So I just love football being back in the air, and there's no one, and I mean no one, more excited for football being back on TVs than Lee Corso. If you don't know who Lee Corso is, you probably don't watch College Game Day at all. I mean, he has been a staple on College Game Day, I think longer than I've been alive. I don't know if College Football Game Day is that long on ESPN, but I think it's been around a pretty long time. But we all know Lee Corso is an old dude, and it's kind of, I feel bad saying this because it's kind of sad seeing Lee Corso on game day right now because he's a fraction of what he used to be. And I understand, he has some medical issues and he's just aging, so he's not as sharp. And he has to go through a lot of things in order just to be able to do College Game Day. But I thought the highlight came on Thursday when he was picking games. And I have to say, Lee Corso was probably more relatable here in this one little clip to every single guy around the country. And this was the big clip that made him so relatable to every dude in the country.
Not tonight, sweetheart. Give me that head. Not.
Oh, Lee Corso. I got to listen to that again.
Not tonight, sweetheart. Give me that head.
Yeah, Lee. Yeah, Lee. Go, 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 Lee. He knew what he was doing there. I don't care. Out of all things that could have been said there, that was the best thing that could be said. If you don't know, Lee Corso always picks the final game with putting on the mascot's head. Okay, so that's exactly why he said that. But give me that head. I think that might be a new drop on the show, a new little soundbite that I play every once in a while here on the show, especially on Smut Tail Wednesdays, because it will be very fitting. And Lee was picking that game with it being Pitt versus West Virginia, which they kept saying this in the broadcast. It was like now I forgot what it's called. But they kept saying it over and over and over again. Let me look to see exactly. The Backyard Brawl. That's what that game is called, Pitt versus West Virginia. They said it a million times on that broadcast. I was like, okay, we get it. It's the Backyard Brawl. And you know what? It was a good game. It delivered. And this is the true start to week 1 of college football. This is the true start to college football. There were some games last week. Northwestern, Nebraska was like the big college football game. If that's the big college football game to start off the year, it didn't really happen. I'm sorry if you're a Nebraska fan, one, because you lost to Northwestern over in Ireland, but there was nothing else on. It wasn't that exciting of a weekend. This weekend, there's a lot of good football games. And by the way, I can't really talk about all the football games that occurred because I'm recording this podcast on a Friday and not on a Saturday. So I know what happened on Thursday night, but I don't know what happened the rest of the weekend. So I know that Penn State beat Purdue 35-31, and Pitt came back to win versus West Virginia 38-31. I do know those score. I wish I was a guy that could see into the future so that way I could place some bets and make a little extra cash, but I can't do that. I'm not a time traveler. Be sweet. Be living high all the time just because I would be able to just pick games that are winners all the time and go on vacation whenever I want. That would be the life. There's one other big takeaway that I had from college football kicking off on Thursday is that College Game Day is no longer the premier pregame show for college football. And it pains me to say that because growing up on Saturdays, I used to wake up and I used to watch Game Day up until kickoff of the first games that would be played at 12 o'clock. I loved it because they told so many great stories on College Game Day. It was a great storytelling piece. They would feature somebody that struggled making the team, or maybe they got cut, maybe somebody was blind. A lot of different emotional stories that were told on there. And of course, they picked the games as well. But College Game Day has now been surpassed by Fox's Big Noon Kickoff. I never thought that I would say that because most of the guys that are on Big Noon Kickoff, I absolutely hate because I'm a Notre Dame fan. I grew up being a Notre Dame fan. And there's Matt Leinart and Reggie Bush that are on that show. The only guy that I really liked on there was Brady Quinn because he was Notre Dame's quarterback. And they played against each other. So that's like the one thing that I've noticed. That pregame show is really good. I think Rob Stone is the guy that hosts it. I'm not 100% sure if that's his name, but I'm pretty sure it's Rob Stone. Those four could complete the show, and it would be really good no matter what. I don't think that Urban Meyer does anything being on that show. I thought he was bland. I thought he was boring. And the rest of the guys were having a lot of fun on that show, cracking jokes, making fun of each other when they would trip over their words, and just made it a whole lighthearted feel. And I think that's one thing that Fox does really well when it comes to their pregame shows, when it comes to their presentation in sports in general. It doesn't always feel like this super button-up broadcast, even though for the most part they are buttoned up, like they're wearing nice suits and everything, but it has a different vibe. It kind of almost has that feel that TNT's NBA crew has inside the studio. They just look like some dudes that are having fun talking about a sport that they love while busting each other's chops. That's what TV should be. I feel like all good moments that come out of pregame shows are from when other guys are bashing each other. It's not about talking X's and O's. That stuff is boring. No one really wants to talk the X's and O's on sports. Make it entertaining. Tell me a fun little factoid with throwing a little backhanded compliment in there about somebody else that's on that panel. And I thought that Fox's crew, Rob Stone, Brady Quinn, Reggie Bush, and Matt Leinart did a great job. Urban Meyer, go back down to Florida. Go back to college towns. Find you a little hookup again. You're not needed on that Fox Big Noon Kickoff. You're not. And you know what? I lost a lot of respect for Urban Meyer when he did that whole thing. I always thought that he was a sleazy dude. But that just kind of put the cherry on top, that him being a sleazy dude was out there. I always thought that he did some weird shit when he was coaching college football. Always thought that. He just gave weird vibes. You know, sometimes you could walk up, you could see someone, talk to them for a minute and be like, I don't trust this dude. Urban Meyer is one of those dudes I would never trust. I wouldn't trust him to watch my dog. I wouldn't trust him to stand there and watch my car. He would sell it to somebody that's walking by because he's a good bullshitter. I'll give him that. I feel like if you are Urban Meyer, you have to be a good bullshitter in order to get people to buy into your college program. And he did that for a very long time. His bullshitting did not work in the NFL. But I just want him to go right off into the sunset with all the money that he's made in college, coaching football. Just go. We don't need you on that show. You bring down the vibe when you talk. You kill the mood. But I'm happy football's back. This weekend, full weekend of college football. Now the start of this week, we get some NFL football, which is what I like watching more. The NFL has always been more entertaining to me. You have kickoff coming up on Thursday, so Might even touch a little bit more about that on Wednesday's episode, but probably not because we'll have a smut tail and everything. But I'm excited for the NFL season to start. Obviously, you have that one game on Thursday, or yeah, two games. I think only one game on Thursday. And then you have majority of the games on Sunday, the 11th. So that will be a lot of fun. There's something in America about football being back. I think everyone loves it, buys in. Like high school Friday night lights, people love that stuff, especially in small towns, Texas. They eat that shit up. They're like, that's what we're known for. We're known for football on Friday nights. We're known for football on Saturday nights if you're a college town. NFL cities, those are known to be, that's what everyone in that city is going to be doing on that Sunday. And to go back to Friday Night Lights, I saw this article from Barstool Sports talking about how Washington, Illinois High School had a mom's night for their football practice, where moms put on pads and they were able to tackle their child. If you haven't seen the video of this, you need to do yourself a favor. Go and Google this. Just type in Washington, Illinois, and I'm sure this is going to pop up because nothing really happens in Washington, Illinois. This has made national headlines. So they had mom's night at practice. Moms got to dress in full uniforms and tackle their son. Think about how big of a pain in the ass you were in high school. Think about that. All the times that your mom really wanted to beat the shit out of you, but she couldn't. She didn't go that route. And then there's that one night. It's mom's night at football. She gets to put the pads on and take out all of her anger on you. I'm sure that's how every single mom approached that. It was like, you know what? He has been a real pain in the ass all summer long, begging me to take him here and there, begging me for money so he could go and hang out with his buddies when he was probably just using that money to go buy a case of beer, to find someone to buy him a case of beer. But moms, they did a good job in that video of actually tackling their sons. That's why I'm saying, if you go and watch that video, you know they took all of their frustration out on their sons. Because I would have. But I think it's a fun way to get moms involved into the game. Because sometimes you look at football, you might view it as father-son. You don't really see football as being mother-son time. But that's a great way to get them involved into the game. Maybe even shed light on different things that are happening in the program at that time. So that way moms know, because you know the communication level that you had with your parents in high school. You never told your parents anything. They had to find everything out secondhand. But it's a good way to get them involved. Make them feel like they're a part of their son's journey in their high school football season. Whoever the head coach is there, he should get a raise. And that team, I don't know how they're doing so far. I think this is week 2 in Illinois for high school football. My brother, he coaches high school football in Illinois. He had his second game this week. So I imagine they're on the same schedule timeline. But it was fun. It was great to see. It should be happening all over the country. But just think about this, though. If you were being tackled by your mom and she laid you the fuck out, I mean crushed you, imagine going to school the next day. Having to live with that the next day. Oh, man, your buddies would be giving you so much shit. You would never be able to live that moment down ever again. And it's not saying that I would be surprised that a mom could do that, because I 100% believe that a mom could do that. But just being the kid on that other end, getting leveled by their mom, and just being bullied all day, the rest of their life, honestly. You remember that one time, mom's night? Remember we had that? Your mom tackled you? 10-year high school anniversary, one of your buddies saying that. Be like, yeah, you never let me live that down in the 10 years. Thank you for bringing it back up. Whenever we're all together, that's what you bring up. Out of all the cool things that I did for you in your high school years, that's what you remember. Remember, I had a fake ID in high school, and I used to buy us beer. Huh. Remember that one thing, that one stupid moment. But you know what? It is a moment, and it's a story that will live on forever. No matter what, even if the mom didn't let you out, it's still a good story to tell. It was fun. It was great. Like I said, good way to get somebody involved. But you know what's a good thing about football coming back? It means that fall is coming here. There's a lot of great things about fall. And I know I always say I'm a big summer guy. I love the summer. I won't complain about the heat. If it's hot out, will I say it's hot? I'll be like, yeah, it's hot. But I'm not going to complain about it because that's what I come to expect out of the summer. But I do enjoy when the weather starts to cool down a little bit because it's a nice little break. But I also hate what comes along with that. Like, it's just a reminder that winter is right around the corner. That's why I don't really like fall weather all that much. But I tell you what, I do have a list of the top 3 things about fall. That's what we're doing our top 3 list on today. You best believe it. My dog is so excited. That's why she's barking in the background about it. So let's go. Top 3 things about fall. Let's start at number 3, which I just kind of talked about. The weather. That morning crisp fall air that you get. That late at night crisp, cool air that you get. You have a bonfire in the backyard. Making some s'mores. Maybe having a drink or two outside. Playing some games. Cornhole. Whatever you want to play in your backyard with a bonfire going. With that crisp, cool weather, that's the number 3 thing to me about the fall. The number 2 thing that I love about the fall, of course, it's food related. It's chili. Listen, there's no better combination than some cool temperatures and some chili. That on a Sunday in the fall is my kind of Sunday. I don't need anything else. I don't need drinks. I don't drink that often. Just give me water, some chili, oyster crackers, and a little bit of cheese. It's all I need. I could eat that all day. And honestly, I would probably be eating that chili all week too. So that's why chili finds its spot at number 2 of the top 3 things about fall. And the number 1 thing that I love most about fall, you guessed it, we've been talking about it the whole time. Football, baby. Football. Thursday through Sunday, you get all the action. And you know what? With Nora reading more, I might be able to watch more football. Like yesterday, I was watching my brother's, I told you I'm recording this game on a Friday. My brother's high school team had to play on Thursday because there's a huge shortage of officials in Illinois. So they had to play a game on Thursday. And I was watching his game Thursday night. Nora went up to go and watch, or to go and read. And after she was upstairs reading while I was watching my brother's game, I just put on that Purdue and Penn State game and that Pitt versus West Virginia game, and I watched those two. It was great, but I didn't watch football all day, and I bet you that I won't watch football all day Saturday because I have my parents in town, which is kind of weird talking about this because this episode comes out on Monday. I don't know. But there we go. There we go. Put a little bow on the top 3 things that I love about the fall. And, of course, football taking number 1. The number 2 spot is chile, and the number 3 is that crisp morning/night air that you get. So perfect. It really is perfect. I tell you what, there's a lot of things that you could probably hear in the background on this show today. I don't know if you could hear this train going by or not. Oh, man. Come on. Everything is hurting me right now. My dog barking, got the train going by. I need like an actual real studio where it's all soundproofed. You can't hear anything that's coming in or anything that's going out. Like, that would be good. But it's a home office, you know? All right, how should we end this show? Oh, yeah, by the way, I saw one of the best TikToks I've ever seen. And I know I talk about TikTok a lot. It's because my ass is on the couch, usually scrolling through TikToks late at night. I saw this lady, or this girl, whatever, breaking down men, the reason why she loves men. And I'm going to play you this sound. If you're a female that's listening to this show, I just want you to know, when you go out to dinner with a dude, they want your leftovers, okay? And the way that this girl breaks this down, she is spot on.
Reason number 10 why I love men, because you guys go out for dinner and the server puts both of your plates down. He's already sizing you up to see, is she going to finish that or is that going to be mine? And then he's like eating his meal. Before he even takes his first bite though, he's like, is she going to be finishing that? He's like making a mental note. And then halfway through the meal, you're like, do you want some of this? And he's like, I knew you weren't going to finish that. Hand it over. Hand it over, babe. Takes it, like chowing it down. It's like, focus on your food first, okay? But joking, we love it. We love how you plan ahead.
Listen, I hope that's true. I hope you do. I hope Nora thinks this. Like, I hope my husband eats the rest of this food that I'm not eating. Because that's what I want. I don't really want to bring leftovers home from a restaurant. I want to eat all of my food that I get from a restaurant there. And that's including whatever's on Nora's plate as well. Like, Nora asks me all the time whenever we go out to eat, do you want to finish this? Yes, the answer is yes. It doesn't matter how full you are in that situation. If your wife is asking you if you want this, you're going to say yes. 10 times out of 10. Let me say 9 times out of 10 there. Because there might be that one time that's sprinkled in that you go to a Brazilian steakhouse, and really she wouldn't have any leftovers on her plate. Maybe she wasn't able to finish like one piece of steak that was on there. But you're tapped out because you just are in meat sweats right now. You're in a meat coma at that point. So you could have that one instance. But for the most part, if you have your wife asking you if you want that food, yes, you do want that food. 9 out of 10 times, like we said. And you know what? I really don't like bringing leftovers home from restaurants either. I never feel like leftovers from a restaurant hit the same way that they do when you're at a restaurant. They always taste a little bit different. I mean, they're still serviceable, but they're not as good. Restaurant quality food is only quality when you're at that restaurant. There's a very few things that taste good as leftovers from restaurants. That's why you need to capitalize in that moment. If your wife has leftovers on her plate, you got to eat all that shit. Your job as a husband, as a boyfriend, or as a girlfriend to your girl, you are their garbage disposal. That's what you are put on the face of this earth for. If she's not finishing your food, you're finishing it for her. That's your number one task. And, of course, other things as well. But that's the number one. Finishing all the food that she doesn't want. And I'm glad to be that person. Listen, there's a lot of times where I'm sitting at a restaurant trying to decide what exactly I want. I'm like, oh, man, what do I want? Am I going to order the wrong thing? Because in that moment, sometimes I do think I'm ordering the wrong thing. And then I hear Nora's order, and I'm like, ooh, you know what? That actually sounds really good. Why did I not order that? And I hate splitting food. I never want to split food. So, like, in that scenario, I'm like, man, I just hope she doesn't finish it all. Because if she doesn't finish, I'm going to eat it. I'll get a little bite. And if it's good, I'm going to order that shit next time. That's how my brain works when we go out to eat. I love going out to eat. It's always so good. Not all the time, but I think I enjoy it more because it's like you don't have to cook, right? Just like a sandwich always tastes better when you don't make it. It's the same thing. Food just tastes better when you don't have to make it. It has to be really, really freaking bad if you don't like it when you go out to a restaurant. Oh, man, that was a fun episode. Really had fun. I tell you what, I feel like I'm hitting my stride with this show right now. I've had a lot of fun recording it, found a lot of great topics to talk about lately. Of course, on Wednesday's episode, we'll have a smut tale to go over. I'm sure maybe talk a little bit about the NFL starting up, and maybe I won't talk about the NFL all that much because I've been thinking that I should start a sports podcast as well. I'm still thinking about that. I don't know if I fully want to commit to doing 2 episodes a week for this show and then another show. That would just be a lot. But I think I could do it. And then I'm going to get burnt out from doing podcasts. I don't want that to happen. Because like I said, I feel like I'm finding my stride doing this one, and I really enjoy it right now. So I'll talk to you on Wednesday's episode of the Luke Kelly Show. I don't know. I think I might have called this show something else. I used to do a different podcast. But this one, it's called the Luke Kelly Show, and I'll talk to you Wednesday.